When the world's oldest Manchester United supporters club celebrated its 65th anniversary, a special exhibition was built around the personal collection of legendary fan Joe Glanville. With the supporters club starting 1 year after the 1958 air disaster, Munich was naturally the theme of the exhibition. At the official opening, a Manchester United delegation, including Mike Phelan and David May, was given a personal tour by the man who curated it. We'll show you more from this exhibition at the end of the programme. Hello and welcome to the committee room of the Manchester United Supporters Club of Malta. I'm joined by Joe Glanville, the former president, who's been sharing his lifetime of memories of supporting Manchester United. So Joe, let's start at the very beginning and tell me how the formation of the supporters club was influenced by the rivalry between Italy and England.
Yes, I can call it a problem because the local population took sides. Either you are with Britain, which was England, and then Italy, because we are so close to Italy, so there was a lot of influence also by Italy over here in Malta, you know. These days, England remain the founders of football. And Italy, if it wasn't for English people who went to Italy to teach them football, it was England who introduced football to Italy. So to come with all this rubbish these days, are you side with England or Italy? For me, that doesn't make sense.
But on the other hand, though, the banter and the rivalry is what's great about football, isn't it, and supporting football. We like to have this friendly rivalry.
Yes, but when there's banter is one thing, but when you get fights and everybody fighting against each other, or you get your tin of paint thrown through your main door, it's something else, you know. I know somebody in an argument, he threw a billiard ball.
Crikey.
To the other bloke, because they had an argument about this Italian football.
Well, the one thing about people that come to this supporters club is we're all united.
Yes, that's definitely, you know. I mean, we get all sorts of supporters, you know. England and they don't exist over here. If you say England, United, Liverpool, or Manchester City, there's the same situation as England, Italy. But besides that, no problem.
And of course, the supporters club began as Malta was still recovering from the Second World War, which ended the previous decade when England and Italy were on different sides.
The position in Malta was a bit up and down for the simple reason that you have to remember that Malta was under the British rule, and then with us being so near to Italy, there was people who really had big contacts with Italy, so the situation was the British forces in Malta who created a lot of jobs as they were serving the services in Malta. So you had a part of the population which was very, very pro-British, and through history, the other part were pro-Italy. So I think that with that situation, the limited records that we've got of the club, it simply showed that most of the people came from Slima, and that part of the island was very much pro-British. In fact, if you see the minutes or the membership list at that time, most of them came from Slima. So John Gubba, who also came from Slima, came up with the idea of forming a supporters club. So he wrote to Matt Busby, but Busby welcomed him and he gave him the go-ahead. And that's how the club was formed.
And at that point of time, you were already a Manchester United supporter. I mean, were you aware of this going on?
I was aware, but I wasn't really well informed of what was happening. You know, I took the opportunity to get interested after 1962, 63.
I think it's fascinating that only 2 years after the club was set up, Manchester United came over. There must have been an absolutely, almost like disbelieving reaction from the locals. I mean, what kind of impact did it make from the Maltese people that Manchester United came all that way to bring the players?
They left a very good impression for the simple reason that, as you are saying, After just 2 years of the club being formed, but Busby got such a good impression that United were playing in Rome. In fact, the last game they played over there, I think they had a couple of games. It was against Tevere Roma, a local club from Rome, and afterwards they flew to Malta for about 3 days. They had a good welcome at the airport, fantastic welcome at the airport, of which they were very impressed. The second night, the local supporters club organized a reception for them, which was another success. They played a game against the local League 11, and they flew back the next day.
Fantastic. And what about your own reaction? Did this all enthuse your interest in Manchester United?
Yes, in fact it did, because before I was not really involved with the club. And I remember when my father took me to watch them, knowing that I was a United supporter. And I attended the reception that the club did in Malta. And from then on, my interest began to really foster.
Excellent. John Calleja, he was the founder. How long was it before you became good friends with John Calleja?
It's difficult to say really which year, because I got in contact with John in October '64, approximately that time. In '63, I saw an advert in the Pink, in the football Pink, that a club was formed in Manchester by the name of Manchester United Fan Club. And with me not finding any connections, as I told you, with the club over here, I became a member of this club. And I asked them if I could find them members from Malta. And I put an advert in the local papers, and all of a sudden I had 50, 60 people who applied to become members of this particular club. They used to publish a magazine, which was of great importance to us because news from Manchester used to be limited. And they used to include in every publication a profile picture of the players of that time, you know. So when this happened, and the local committee found out about this club, which they did not know, they weren't happy, and I expected that they were not happy, you know. And John Calleja contacted me. That was the time when I met John Calleja. And we met in a local restaurant. I still remember the place in Slima, again in Slima. And on the supporters club side, John Calleja attended, the secretary George Chisson, and the treasurer Joe Itzo, who today unfortunately he's not with us anymore. And from my side, it was me and two friends of mine. One of them is Charles Peterichon, and another one is Frank Mumford. And all of a sudden, there was no arguments or anything. We decided to amalgamate the two clubs, which I think was the best solution of what was going on. And in October, we held a meeting, and the two clubs became amalgamated in 1964. We had quite a good response for the first meeting, and after 1965, we had financial problems. Because when I took over in 1964, we were given no records of the club except a membership list, and the money I've got from the previous club was 1 shilling 6pence. So you can imagine. No problems existed without more problems. Because also at that time, they used to send the membership to Manchester, which was 1 shilling 6pence. So at the end they had nothing. But I mean, we decided to keep all the money in Malta, and from Manchester United Supporters Club Malta branch, we became Manchester United Malta, which was not something that was taken well by the supporters club in Manchester, but we said it's better that we go on our own. And I became the secretary of the club. And I had a few committee members which were really helpful. And it wasn't the first time that we had to put our hands in our pockets to make the club survive.
So in the early days, Joe, there wasn't as many members as the massive membership you've got now. How hard was it to keep the supporters club going?
The first few years, it took a big job to keep the club going, both financially and as regards support from members. In fact, between 1962 and August 64, the club faced a few problems, as I said, especially both on the financial side and on the administrative side, you know. I don't know why, because after United visit in 1961, one expect that the club would be stronger, and I haven't got any explanation why this happened, you know.
Well, I'm guessing winning the FA Cup in 1963 was a bit of a boost.
That's what I thought. But when you know that after they came in Malta and then 1963 winning the FA Cup, it took another year for the club to begin making a bit of progress, you know. But as I said before, the progress was very limited.
So tell me, Joe, about the club publications. Nowadays you've got some amazing club publications. What was it like in the early days?
Very, very, very difficult, you know, I mean, very difficult. But the record shows, as I said, the few record shows, that in 1959, they managed to publish 2 publications, which was called Man United News. And from the few information I've got, it cost them £5 for each edition. I mean,
doesn't sound like a lot these days.
Which was amazing.
So moving on to the running of the supporters club, I understand that John Gubba resigned for good in 1966. What was your role then in running the supporters club?
At that time I was the secretary of the club, you know. John resigned for the simple reason, not because there were problems, but he had private work to do. And so he gave way to us, and at that time George Chisholm took over as president, you know. Then after the visit to Malta of United in 1967, when they played Hibernians in the European Cup over here. 2 years later, in 1970, I resigned from the committee. I had problems with the committee about a publication, and after a while, the club had problems again, and I was approached to go back to the committee, which I accepted. And in 1972, I presented what I call a plan for the future, which included to have a printed publication and to try and find a premises as a clubhouse. So in 1972, then I became president of the club, which I served for 19 years as president, with 10 years as secretary. And the first thing that we did, besides introducing the publications Echoes from Old Trafford, which there's a good story about it, about how the name Echoes from Old Trafford came about. We couldn't find the premises, so I asked my father if I opened part of our residence in Baretta as a club premises, you know, which we did. And we had big success. But unfortunately, after 2-3 years, the landlord of the place took me and my father to court for using our residence as a club. So we had to close. At 78, we had to close. But
So you had to close the venue, not the supporters club?
No, the venue. But at the same time, we didn't close. In the meantime, we tried to find a new premises, which we did, which was a nice premises in Valletta. But because of our lack of time of finding new premises to my residence, you know, the landlord of the place put a lot of restrictions to us. But I mean, we had no option. We had to take it. Either take that or else nothing. And we went to Decorated, and when we went to decorate the place, we took our wives, and they told us, you must be mad to take this place, because it had not been decorated since before the last World War. And to begin doing it, you know, they asked us for 300 quid, which we didn't have.
Okay.
And one of our committee members, one of the most loyal we had, Elias Mitzi, did it for us. And at the end, instead of 300 quid, he took 70 quid, which was fantastic, you know. Then on the 3rd of March 79, we opened this new premises. And it was opened by Louis Edwards as chairman of the club of Old Trafford, and he was accompanied by his wife and the director, Denzel Harrow. So for us, for the chairman of the club and the director, it was something special, you know.
So it sounds like in the opening decades, it was quite a struggle really to grow the supporters club. Did you ever imagine in those days that you'd be here celebrating 65 years?
In fact, you know, honestly, what you're asking me is what I saw this last week while we were working to begin the celebration. And that's what I said. I mean, certain committee members who since then are not with us anymore, I was saying to myself, if they are here today, what do they think about the club with no money, no premises, and today they have reached this standard, you know. I mean, it's amazing.
It's pretty incredible. I mean, you've got this exhibition, which we're going to have a look round, and to think that you've got the 65 years celebration, you've got people from Manchester United coming over for a podcast, you've got Mike Phelan coming over, you've got David May. I mean, you must be really proud of what you've achieved over all these decades.
I mean, yes, you are proud, but it really shows the commitment and the work they have done as committee, not just the committee that is now, even the people who were part of the committee in the previous years, because the build-up of the club is not just now. It's also a sort of a result of what went on in the previous years, you know. I mean, and today the club is very, very near to professional with fantastic people on the committee. I mean, especially there is Joe, the president today. I mean, for me, he's the best president we ever had, you know, because he's such a working machine. And he expects that the rest of the committee should be committed the way that he is, you know. Fantastic.
No doubt about it, Joseph Tedesco is a great leader, and I know that you were a great leader when you were leading the supporters club. And what I really admire about the Manchester United Supporters Club of Malta is that you do very much work as a team. It's almost like a great example to the football team itself, how you really function and you all work together.
Yes, I always say that anybody who decides to contest the election of a committee, especially here, they've got good intentions. But when you get in it and the work involved, you find a totally different picture. So if there are resignations, it's not because when they joined it was ill-intended, you know. They find the setup totally different because over here, to see the club successful as it is today, you have to work. You have to work hard. And there's no messing about. It's either you work or else your place is not on the committee, you know.
So clearly you and many others put in a lot of hard work in the opening times of the supporters club. Was there a time when you felt that you'd actually firmly established the supporters club as a supporters club that was going to survive for a long term?
I mean, the thing is this, you know, when I see the club today, I mean, I joined the committee 3 times in my life. And each time I went to the committee because I was asked to go back because the club was on the verge of closing down. But I can tell you one thing, the way the club is organized today and the way it stands, there's no way there will be another bloke who takes the club over because it's going to close down for various reasons, you know, either financially or administratively. I mean, today there is a committee that they are so much established and they are so hardworking that this occasion would never ever occur.
The thing that comes to my mind is we sing "We'll Never Die," and it's, to me, the Manchester United Supporters Club of Malta will never die.
Definitely, definitely. And I mean, for me, just to be alive today and to go back to what was before, it gives me the greatest of pleasure that the club is in great hands and the future is so bright for them.
One of the things I've noticed over recent years is how keen you've always been to bring over trophies on ex-players. How did that all come about?
Well, after the Rotterdam final, when Fergie was in charge, at the end of the game, Erasmus team, my better half in the committee, he told me, Joe, we have to bring the trophies to Malta. I told him, no, you must be joking. I told him the trophies never left England, So he came back and he continued to press me. We should bring the trophy back in Malta, So I wrote to Ken Merritt at the time, the secretary, and to my surprise, the trophy came to Malta, And at that time, there were no security. They did not, security, they did not accompany the trophies, So I used to keep them home, and that night they used to sleep in bed with me, so that nobody dares to come and touch them. And then since then also, with the trophies coming over to Malta, we managed to get every trophy United won. So that followed by bringing players over, And a lot of players have been our guests for dinner dances since then,
So really your connections and the relationships you made from the early days really started to pay off in those times, didn't they, Joe?
Yes, in a way, yes. I admit that, the homework that was done years back, it gave fruit, after Fergie took over, Fergie has been a tremendous help to our club in Malta, I have to admit that Fergie's influence, if it wasn't for him, the club wouldn't be in the standard as it is today, So we always have to thank Fergie for the efforts he did with us.
We thank Fergie, but as we've found out over these episodes, it's largely down to your relationship with Sir Alex Ferguson that we've had this fantastic relationship with the Maltese Supporters Club.
Yes. The Fergie, the first person he met from Malta was me, because I had just returned from Manchester when he took over, and when I went back, I went to see him and asked him if I could continue to go to the cliff. And it turned out that a year later, he came to Malta on holiday with his wife and his kids. And we looked after him, I looked after him, and since then, that was the start of a long relationship with the big man,
So we're here in the current headquarters, what looks like being the permanent headquarters for the Maltese Supporters Club. Tell me about when did this all start here at Santa Venera?
As I said before, we had the problems in Valletta with restrictions from the landlord. And after years and years, we said we have to move from here, And we found this premises in Santa Venera, which is the present premises, I was not much involved in the taking over of this premises, because also after a while, I had problems with the committee, and I was refused membership for 10 years. Luckily enough, that was a big blow for me, because the club has always been my life. But after that, when Joe Tedesco took over, he called me, we had a chat, and I'm happy to say I was back to the club, and since then, I have been a very active member of this club, which, it's a big honor,
Absolutely. I find it hard to imagine how you could have been excluded from the Supporters Club, having put so much into it and the relationships that you made with Manchester United. And Manchester United Supporters Club of Malta is world famous, but almost as famous as that is Joe Glanville himself. So it's really important that this bridge was mended.
No, but the thing is this, I always had in my mind that nothing except the best is accepted by this club. And when I did not agree with the committee, it was something that I couldn't stay back from opening my mouth. I wasn't happy the way it was run. But let's bygones, we're happy now. These patches pass by, and it's useless that you have to go back. And first of all, you have to see the future of the club. And today, as I said before, the club is in good hands. Perhaps it also reflects what I fought for. I mean, because you fight for the club for the simple reason to see the club being run in a good way, you know, and that's my opinion. I mean, perhaps I'm wrong, but I mean, when I came back, I mean, I was welcomed. So I think, I mean, what I fought for was worthwhile.
Absolutely. My own personal connection with the support club goes back about 10 years now, but the thing that really stands out for me is how when you have these special anniversaries, how well organised it is, and how people, when they come to the Maltese Supporters Club in Manchester United, that they really remember it as a special, almost like a once-in-a-lifetime thing that stands out in their memory because they love it so much when they come here.
I mean, a good example of what you're saying now are two occasions. For instance, the dinner for the testimonial of Gary Neville, 1,200 people in one of the big squares in Malta, and it was so organized professionally, it was amazing. And the last one was for the 60th anniversary, where we had about 200 people coming over from every part of the world, and up to this very day, people still put photos on Facebook of that occasion. I mean, this club, as I said before, today is runs professionally.
Absolutely.
And there's no other way except the best. I mean, for instance, now with the 65th anniversary, they're going to have another set of activities, which I'm sure they will do honor for the Supporters Club in Malta.
I know for a fact that many people come to Malta for the first time simply because they want to come and visit the Manchester United Supporters Club in Malta, and that must make you feel very proud as well.
I mean, way back, as we were a British colony, and a lot of people, English people, served during the war, we had a lot of people coming, and the first thing they used to go and visit was the War Museum in Malta. Today is the local supporters club. All United supporters want to come and visit our club. Whoever comes to Malta, the first thing they do is come to the club. In fact, not the first time that we get people, they tell us we just arrived, but we came to the club first. I mean, good connections, good connections.
It's kind of good that it's turned out this way because Visit Malta are a partner of Manchester United Football Club. They must value what the Maltese Supporters Club do because you do actually bring people over here as tourists now.
Yes. We're like a tourist board for Malta, you know. But I mean, it does help. The club does help, you know. I am not saying that the whole people who come to Malta are to our supporters club. But I mean, Visit Malta were not daft to invest money as a sponsorship. They knew the power that Manchester United got in Malta.
And what's really impressive as well is, even when we're not doing so well, we still get the supporters that come here, and people love coming here, even when they come from other countries to visit. They love coming here to share the match day experience.
Yes, definitely. You know, we get people to watch games from every part of the world. I mean, for instance, last year we had people from Finland. About 2 weeks ago, we had people from the States. So everybody comes. Every nation has been to Malta. You know, if you see the visitors book, the signatures you find is from all parts of the world.
Absolutely. Well, I've spent quite a few match day experiences here, but one that I'll never forget is one that we experienced this week because we had the game against Wolves when we won in the 97th minute with that fantastic goal from Kobbie Mainoo.
Unfortunately, I wasn't here because this week I've been so tired with all the activities that at half time I went home and watched the second half at home, you know. But they told me there was quite a few people jumping up and down as soon as Mano scored the goal, you know. I mean, which we get it nearly in every game. For instance, one game I remember well about the atmosphere over here was the semi-final of the FA Cup when Gaze scored that great goal. Fantastic. Everybody was on the floor jumping on top of each other, you know. There's a great atmosphere during games over here.
there must be quite a few games that you really will never forget, the atmosphere you've had in this supporters club.
I told you, one of them was the goal that Gacy scored. But for instance, last season, when we played in the Carabao Cup, we had over 700 people over here. In fact, the committee, we were for it because, I mean, we thought there might be an accident here, you know. And then for the final, in fact, we made restrictions. And although we made restrictions, there weren't as much people as for that particular game, you know. I mean, so yes, I mean, we get a good response from members and other supporters, you know. And sometimes the place is packed, especially when you mention you're playing Liverpool. You've got no chance that you sometimes will have to close the main door, you know, because I mean Liverpool are such good friends of ours.
It's been absolutely fascinating, Joe, over these 4 episodes, hearing your life story and your memories and how the supporters club has evolved and all the things that you've told us about. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of all the Manchester United supporters all around the world who've enjoyed, I'm sure, hearing your stories. And thank you very much, Joe, for sharing them with us.
I think I should thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I mean, over here with this interviews, we managed to go back to a lot of history of this club, you know, which I hope it will be a good reference for the future generations. Thank you very much, and I hope we'll see you back in Malta very, very soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. What an incredible person Joe Glanville is. I know he seems to know everybody. He was very friendly with Matt Busby. I think he's got Sir Alex Ferguson on speed dial. I know he knows you and lots of many other players. And he's part of the history of Manchester United in a way, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, because you know he's such a likeable guy. You know, he's friendly. He's open. He's warm. And when he ever visited the training ground, he was always welcome. He was in and around the players on the training field. Amongst that, with all the staff, so he was a regular visitor and a warmth that he gave to everybody when he met everyone. It was like, you know, a really, really good friend.
The exhibition was open for a full week to commemorate the 65th anniversary of the Supporters Club, and it was a real highlight for the guests from Manchester United Football Club, who really appreciated the team effort by everyone involved, especially the rare items provided by Joe Glanville.
Do you know what? You just don't appreciate it until you see it like this. It's incredible. It's wow. It does take your breath away. And Joe was just saying there, some of the stuff is so unique that, you know, I think there's 20 programmes ever made because of the crash.
Wolverhampton Wanderers programme, the game that was never played, he's got one of those.
Yeah, and he's got one of them. It's like, wow. You know, they all got burnt because they couldn't use the programme, and yeah.
Just seeing this room, seeing what's been put together, all the time and effort that Joe's put into getting this together is enormous, and it's a credit to him and to the other people that have been involved.
Thanks for watching this exclusive 4-part series featuring our legendary fan, Joe Glanville. We hope you've enjoyed all 4 episodes and appreciate this content being free to view. If you do, please like, comment and share to help this content get seen and to help me keep creating. Thanks again. Hope to see you all again soon.